we're gonna start with a shallow spider guard hook right here. And this is a really annoying guard to deal with because it's like you can't even control his legs. Passing the guard is basically arms, your arms versus his legs. I'm trying to control his legs, and his legs are trying to control my arms. And when I allow this position, it's a very bad position for me because he's controlling my arms quite effectively, and you can't pass. I remember as a white belt, my instructor would always give me the pass on this side, and he'd do the sweep where he grabs the leg here and just takes me over, and I get excited. I would pass his guard every time, and then at the last minute it was like, nope, no you didn't, it'd sweep you over. So there's many different types of ways to approach this that I've seen, and it wasn't until purple belt where I found a way that was successful for me. Some people, they break this side first on the bicep. They try and use either their near knee or their far knee to come through and remove it here. You'll see that on Marcelo Garcia's DVD where he tries to remove this one first and then this one here. And the leg lasso is pretty tough to deal with because it's a very good control. So let's start first. You never want to be on both your knees like I am here. Usually you're standing when he puts this in. And let's say in this situation, he keeps a shallow hook like this. Basically, my idea is going to be to circle the hand and put it behind his leg here and then remove. But the guys with strong grip and good control, they won't allow that. So, for a shallow hook, what I'm going to do is I'm going to point my right knee out towards my right side, and I'm going to go down on one knee. And you see that my right knee is pointed out that way. Now it's going to come underneath my armpit, and it's going to catch his foot like this. Then, as I'm doing that, I'm going to be circling here. And I won't be able to circle all the way because he has a good grip, but I'll be able to circle to here. And then with the leverage on his shin, I'm going to come behind and then grab his shin, pin it down, posture up and hip in, and look to throw this over. Now this probably won't pass his guard because it'll probably tornado roll. And I'm going to catch a double underhook like this and then work my double underhook pass. So once again, he's caught me in the spider guard and he's playing a shallow type of hook where it's not under my armpit like this, where it's completely entrenched in there. So it's going to be a shallow hook here. What I'm going to do is I take a step out, come down on my knee here, and then it comes all the way under my armpit and circles in and catches his foot. As I'm doing that, I circle this in and bring the back of my hand on his shin, and then turn it over, break his grip, posture in, hip in, throw it to the side, he rolls back most likely, and I catch double underhooks here. And I try and get a good advanced double underhooks, not this one where I have to pick him up and work for that position here. So try and get a really nice advanced double underhook pass. Let's get an alternate angle. So he's got this. Now notice this time as I'm coming down, I'm already circling this a little bit, already stressing his grip. I bring the knee in, I circle the back of my hand on his shin, then I turn my palm down, I posture up, come here, catch double underhooks. Anytime he has the foot on the bicep, I'm always looking to swing it over. It doesn't always work. But let's say you just break the spider guard. It's kind of like 2 moves I'm showing, almost 3. If I just break the spider guard hook, it'll give you options to work whatever pass that you'd like. Okay? So let's partner up and work then. So, like I said before, you always want to be circling your hand. Like even if it's not actually completing the circle, you want to put stress on the grip. So his grips are always working and always getting tired. Now, let's say here I go and I try this, but it's just not happening. What I'm going to do is I'm going to circle my grip as hard as I can, and he'll be holding real strong. So it'll get to about this point right here. Then what I'm going to do, instead of bringing my knee underneath, which I can't seem to get, put it in a little deeper, Alex, which I can't seem to get right here, it makes it actually a little bit easier to get to this point with my hand when his hook is more under my armpit. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take my knee and I'm gonna use it to move my own hand back behind his knee, his quads like this. Then you're gonna do more or less the same thing. You're gonna work it up here to the shin, break it, hip in, just one option, and he's gonna come here, you get the double underhook. Many times I pass just when I hip in and throw the arm to the side, because he doesn't do this, sometimes he'll turtle up. So be ready to take the back. That's a good option. And also, I mean, sometimes you hip in and it like almost comes off and you're kind of in this position right here. Go ahead, hold my sleeve. Sometimes you're like right here, it's still in the bicep and you're just trying to look to clear it. But that's okay, because he's on the defensive now. Okay, once again. So he's got this in here. I never want to be on both knees in this position. Grab my sleeve, please. Now get it in really deep, that hook. I try and circle it in, it's just too deep for it to circle. So I'm always circling here. I use my knee to come in right on my wrist to push it. I use this one probably more often than the other one. This is a really good tip. Then, same thing, I find the top of his leg here. Double underhooks. Okay. An alternate angle perhaps. Right here. It's really deep. I'm working the circle, circle, circle. I try a few times, doesn't work. Okay, it's pretty self-explanatory. Go ahead, partner up. Anyways, next position that has to deal with this hook is when you end up stepping over the leg in this open half guard position right here with the hook. And there was a really good jiu-jitsu guy that showed me kind of how to deal with this position. And it's what unlocked the previous two positions for me, is that I learned the concept of stressing his grip. Basically, I'm always looking to circle my hand. And the good way to circle your hand is to actually try and touch your hand on his opposite side of his opposite leg here, and then circle back around and get it. Now you need something a little bit more. And the concept of stressing the grip is really cool. And this position that I'm going to show you isn't one that you just sit and chill in. If he reacts to try and take advantage of this position, you react too. So from this position, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lean backwards. And he'll do one of two things. One, he'll hold onto this grip really tight and pull it in towards him, at which point you'll feel his grip start to stress on this arm. Second thing that it may do, his reaction, is that he'll let it give a little bit, and it's enough to circle your arm here. So he can't just sit here when you stress your whole weight on his one grip and try and adjust your weight so that his entire weight is being supported by this grip. It may not happen that way. You can see what Alex is doing here is he's giving me more than enough room to circle towards his opposite leg and come underneath here. Now circling from the previous two positions was the only thing that I was taught from that position. They're like, just circle your arm. And I discovered, well, it's not that easy to just circle your arm, especially against guys that have those monster grips. So these little tricks, so to speak, are what's gonna help you. Now leaning back here, everybody always feels a little bit uncomfortable. Now you're not gonna be leaning back like for 10 years. You're gonna lean back just enough to stress his grip so you can start to circle this way, all right? So the only time that this is really dangerous, he can't do a sit-up sweep, a hip bump sweep, people call it. He can't do a hip bump sweep because it's not the same. You're not in the closed guard, you have control of this leg. But what he can do, the most dangerous thing for you, is if he has this grip on your collar. And what he can do is release the spider hook here, and basically do a gi drag on me. Gi drag, take my back. Right here. So you need to be careful of that. And as long as you're aware that that's his best option from when you're leaning back like that, you'll be okay because he releases the spider hook and you give him the weight back into him and he won't be able to take advantage of that. Okay, so right here. So he's probably gonna be grabbing my leg. If he grabs my leg, I wanna be careful about the sweep to this side. Go ahead and like this. That sweep, if you position your leg, if you position your weight correctly, he can knock you over like this, but it's hard for him to get on top if I do that kind of cat hip movement at the end. It looks cool for him that he knocked you over, but it's actually quite difficult to get on top. So kind of adjust your weight accordingly, like you don't want to get swept that direction, so your weight is leaning backwards into this side. Just for a moment, circle, and I find right here. Now what we're gonna do from this position is gonna be a modified over-under pass. And I call it a modified over-under pass because you're not over-under, but it's the same concept as the over-under pass because you're kind of killing his legs in the same way. Now he can hold on to this from this point, that's fine. Let's square up here. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab his leg right here. I'm gonna cup right on the hip, and my bicep is gonna focus on keeping his heel all the way in towards his butt, so it kind of collapses. And your leg has very little strength to expand if it's already in here. If your leg's here and I'm just holding it, he has a lot of strength to be able to do this. But if it's all the way in like this, he won't be able to move it. He can't generate any force from it, even though you're only just holding it with your arm. So he can still be holding, that's fine. So lean backwards and circle and come to here. Now, I'm kind of awkward in my pass and in my weight distribution, so I'm gonna do what I call going to 6 o'clock. He needs to be at 12, I need to be at 6. So I sprawl, I put my shoulder into him, and I walk, in this case counterclockwise, until I'm at 6 o'clock relative to his body. He'll be hooking on to my back leg like this. Now, you gotta find the weight, the proper weight of your left shoulder into his belly button area. So keep the pressure on. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lift my right leg up and I'm gonna put it right under his right leg. Now from this position, I'm gonna focus on keeping my right arm really compressing his leg. Now I'm gonna walk up like this. Many times he'll still have control of this here. He'll still have control of your arm, but it's not control really. It's not the same as passing with this. This he can use to recover and you're in quite a bit of danger. But when it's on this side, keep holding it. When it's on this side, he's just stalling. You don't get points here, that's okay. But eventually he'll realize the kind of dire situation. He can't extend his leg and use it to make space like he can if he was in just a spider hook position. What you're gonna work to do is slowly try and circle on top of his shin right there. You notice I use my head a little bit. It's not something you can do in 2 seconds, but just be patient and realize that he's just hoping something's gonna turn around for him. And usually they'll release that at the end, or you can try and circle on top of his shin. Alternatively, you could just try and pick up your whole arm over his whole leg and end up in the side control there. But just have confidence in your jiu-jitsu and realize that he's got nothing, like I said. So one more time here. We're in the open half guard, some people call it. Right here, he's got the hook. So right here, I lean back and I circle towards his opposite leg. I come in and I grab here. Now, I noticed that as I did that, I was very aware that he grabbed my shin here. So I'm probably gonna be more careful when I come to 12 o'clock as far as the sweep towards my right. Now, I find that pressure and I drive into him like this. I compress his left leg with my right arm. I lift and put it under his leg. Then I'm gonna work for the cross face here, come up north, and I compress it. As long as I'm compressing his leg, he's got nothing. Now from this position, circle on top. You can use your head for leverage, break his grip, and establish the position. So, any questions on that? Cool. Let's do it.